Let me just tell you. Now, cotton bud is made of cotton, isn't it? Cotton. And what is cotton like? Cotton absorbs. I hope you understand. If you put cotton in something, it will suck up whatever is there. This ear wax, when it is made, it's in the fluid form. So when you stick it in the ear, it comes in contact with the wax there, it will suck up the oily liquid part into itself. So it leaves behind some desiccated material. So most people, if they don't clean their ear 3 times a day, they will not feel happy. So imagine when you are doing this repeatedly. Praise God. Okay? So when you keep on doing it repeatedly, you desiccate the wax. The wax that was in liquid form that should normally flow out on its own, you make it hard, and anytime you want to put it, you push it inside. And before you know, it accumulates there. And sometimes I ask my elderly patient, did you hide your pension money in here? Because the way the thing is so impacted. Well, your battery is low. Okay. So next slide, please. So now, if you have that cotton wax impaction, what are you supposed to do? First of all, a diagnosis has to be made, because I have had people calling me, oh, my mother is 80-something. Oh, which hearing aid can we buy? Do you have hearing aid? And I say, how do you know that she needs hearing aid? They say, she doesn't hear for almost a year now. And let me tell you something, hearing loss is a very terrible problem. It causes isolation. And especially, you know, some of my older patients, what they complain most about is, I know they hear them when they talk to me from a weeabo, you know. So they can't hear, they can't converse with their children in a weeabo. So it's very isolating. And you start seeing the person behaving in a very funny way. And because it's not an obvious problem, everybody thinks that, they hear, or she's not answering us. Meanwhile, the person is not hearing. For you to know whether you have wax impaction, you have to have the ear looked into. So don't just start doing different treatments without knowing what is wrong. So if there is wax impaction, it's a very simple process of treatment that the patient has to undergo. So those ones that normally will ask me about hearing aid that can run into 500s of thousands, by the time I treat the person, they are like, she don't hear. So I become a miracle worker. So the next one is automycosis. No, sorry, go back, please. This is automycosis. Looks beautiful, doesn't it? Cast your mind, when you have bread that was left in a corner, you will see that some things are growing on the bread, spores. Yes, that's when it grows in your ear, we call it automycosis. So it's a fungal infection of the ear. So what it causes excessive itching and pain. It's so painful that people seek help. You understand? Most people in this part of the world, they don't come to hospital unless they have pain. So maybe it's a good thing that automycosis is associated with pain. So, but it's not all cases that have pain. Some may not have pain, but they just keep itching, they keep scratching, and those people have spent a fortune on cotton buds because they keep on using the cotton buds. Meanwhile, what is causing the scratching? They don't know. And you know cotton bud in itself can cause scratching of the ear because you are removing the oily layer. Don't rub oil on your skin for a long time. You must scratch. It's only mad men that God has also given a coating that they don't scratch too much. Okay? So this is automycosis, a fungal infection. And all we do is we remove all these fungal spores and then we treat them for an extended period of time. And the person is good as new. Next slide, please. Now, these are foreign bodies. All sorts of manners of things. These are things that were removed from the ears and a nasal cavity of some children. Anything can be a foreign body. That needle, you see a needle there. The needle was removed from the throat of somebody. You know, some people, especially people that work with needles and pins, they hold them in their mouth. It's a very bad practice because anything can happen suddenly and they swallow it. except you are a magician that swallows pin for entertaining people, you have no business holding anything in your mouth, because somebody can easily just distract you and the next thing is in your throat. And I tell you, it's a very harrowing experience. So please don't put things in your mouth. Teach children not to, children normally put things in their mouth because they like exploring their cavities. But we must teach children not to put things in their mind. I don't mind though, if you put things in your mouth, or you come and see me, I make some money. But I'm supposed to tell you not to do it. So if you disobey, you find me. Next slide, please. So you see, these are the favorite ones that people use for scratching the ear. If there is anyone I have missed out, please do well to let me know the one you use specifically for scratching your ear. You can see the cutting board, car keys. If you know you have never been guilty of this one, you will make heaven. But you will make heaven, it's not this one really. Next slide. So foreign bodies are very common. They are children and even adults, but it's commoner in children and mentally deranged persons. So there are different kinds of foreign body. The way we will attend to a seed of beans, because children, they hide seed of beans in their ear. Anything they see, they like to just try. They just put it anywhere. Some put it in their nose, anywhere that is easy to reach. Some, they put it in their mouth and it goes the wrong way. And that one is very dangerous because it can lead to loss of life. So, but foreign bodies, if they are like beans and things that are organic, we call them organic foreign body. If there are things like, a lot of women now, they have stones on their clothes. Those ones are also foreign bodies that we now encounter. And then children that their mother make very lovely by putting beads on their head. A lot of fine children. Those ones are potential foreign bodies, because when the thing falls off, the child doesn't want to offend the mother. She has to hide it. She hides it in the ear. So it's when they start causing problem that they present to us and we say, madam, do you have so thing? Say, yes, it used to be on her head. I say, no, it's in her ear. So you need to remove it, okay? Removal should only be attempted by somebody that is skilled in the process of removal. Because if somebody that is not skilled in that removal attempts to remove it, you run many risks. You can damage the eardrum. And when you damage the eardrum, you run the risk of having chronic suppurative otitis media, hearing loss, other complications that can lead to death. So please, when there is foreign body in this sensitive area, please look for the person that is trained in the removal of such things so that the complication rate would be less. Next slide, please. So like for cerumen, oris, and some foreign body, this technique works. We decide which, when you see a foreign body as a trained person, you know which of the techniques, no one technique covers all, okay? No one technique covers all. So if I see a foreign body now, I will decide what I will use. Can use forceps to remove some foreign body. There are some foreign bodies you must never use forceps to remove. So like piece of paper, I can easily remove with forceps. But I will not remove a bead that is round with a forceps. I will cause more problem. And what happens is that when an unskilled person attempts to remove a foreign body, when a skilled person wants to remove it, now the child will not cooperate because he has been traumatized. So it will increase the cost, because now, instead of removing it in the outpatient, the child has to now be put to sleep for you to be able to remove the foreign body. Next slide, please. Say what? I can't hear you. What did you say? That is one of the signs we know when somebody has hearing loss. Hearing loss can just be part of the aging process, because the things that make us hear that are in the inner ear, they also grow old. So it's nothing to lose your sleep about. If somebody is 80 now and say, oh, I can't hear again, the first thing I think of is, okay, maybe he's having age-related hearing loss. But we have to check to make sure it is actually that. Because like I told you earlier on, simple thing as wax can cause so much debilitation for patients. So don't just assume, oh, my mama is old, that's why he's having hearing loss. I am seeing that now that I'm talking about old age, some people are paying more attention. All of us, if we are blessed by God, will be old. Next slide. So now, hearing loss can either be conductive or sensory neural. Now, you see the ear canal. If you put something like a foreign body that will close that canal in a very snug way, or like wax, those kind of things, or maybe the bone in the canal wall grows and causes obstruction to the conduction of sound, you have conductive hearing loss. If the tympanic membrane is also affected, that means there is a hole in the tympanic membrane, is ruptured, the ossicles, the bones in the middle ear, they are no longer there, you have what they refer to as conductive hearing loss. But when the inner ear is affected, as in old age, in some cases of accident, because sometimes people have accident that affects the inner ear, real serious head injury, those ones, the patient will present with a sensorineural hearing loss. But like in old age, and in some conditions like chronic suppurative otitis media, sometimes the person may have a coexistence of both conductive and sensorineural hearing loss. So we have three types of hearing loss: conductive, sensorineural, or mixed. Next slide, please. So now, this is a major cause of hearing loss now. Noise. There is so much noise everywhere. When I came into the hall just now, the noise was too much because I'm getting old, though. So I have a sensitivity. It was uncomfortable for me. I had to adjust before I felt a bit comfortable. You know, we age different way. I think maybe because of my awareness, my ears are disturbing me, but the noise was quite loud. It was quite uncomfortable. We may have to think of other ways of reducing the noise. And there are different kinds of noise that can cause hearing loss. There is that one that is caused by a single acute noise, like a blast. There are people, when there is a blast in an environment, they suffer hearing loss because the inner ear or even the middle ear can be damaged by the impact of the blast. But the noise that is worse is the chronic noise. And all of us, I'm sorry to say without exception, we are exposed to chronic noise. A country with so many generators. Generator makes too much noise. They always complain that I don't want the generator in the house when my husband is not around. It's the noise that disturbs me. So if there is some source of other form of light, I manage. But my children like the generator because they want the AC, but the noise disturbs me. So noise in whatever form, along the road, our drivers are always impatient. So somebody will just put his hand on the horn and it's crazy. Next slide, please. Now, when we're talking about foreign bodies, we are in the nose. Now, I showed us the picture of the nose before. Children also hide some foreign bodies in their nasal cavity. This particular picture, you know, there are many of us, we use a lot of batteries now, those small batteries. Those small batteries. So that's what I really want to highlight. Yes, this is a metallic foreign body. The beauty about the battery is that it contains chemicals. And you know what acid does. When they pour acid on people, you know what it does to their face. The batteries, many of them contain alkaline. Alkaline also causes burns. And in fact, the burns alkali cause is more deep-seated than even the acid burn. So when this battery is in contact with the nasal cavity is wet. If your nose is dry, you know that you have problem. The nasal cavity is always wet. So, of course, there will be a chemical reaction when the nose is exposed to the terminal of this battery, and it will start causing it will release nitric acid, which will start causing necrosis of the nasal tissue. So if you suspect that, a child has put in a foreign body that is battery, or any of these small this battery that we use in our toys and stuff, Make sure you make that child get attention, and even when they remove that foreign body, you don't abandon your doctor. You must keep on following with the child because they can develop late complications. The nose can join together, which will cause more problem. Next slide, please. So next slide. So that's the nose. Anything can happen to this nose. A person may be born without a nose. A child may be born, and that same day, it's noticed that the child in the maternity ward, that the child keeps turning blue and pink. So if there are some congenital things, that's what I'm saying in essence, that can occur, like choanal atresia can occur, that the child cannot breathe through his nose. If a midwife is there and notices this, or a doctor is there, they should put something in the mouth of the child so that he can breathe through the mouth. You see, God always gives us alternative. Next slide, please. Now, I don't know if many of you can see this. It looks like blood coming out from the nose of the person there. Bleeding from the nose is also a common condition that we see. If somebody is bleeding from the nose, a myriad of things can cause it. From things happening around the nose and things in the systemic, I've been waiting for that. Okay, thank you. And things happening in the body. A lot of people are hypertensive, so they are taking some drugs that can thin the blood and make bleeding very easy. So you need to see a doctor. If it has happened, go see a doctor so that they can check to see which is your risk factor, and many of them are amenable to treatment. So if, however, somebody is bleeding suddenly in the house and you are there, the first thing is don't panic. Tell the patient to be calm, and all you need to do is this. Sit the patient up, get a bowl and put in front of the person, and tell the person to open their mouth and start breathing through their mouth. So when they start breathing through their mouth, you tell them to pinch their nose like this. So whatever blood is coming out will come out through the mouth into the bowl.